Good afternoon, folks. Hey, it's a pleasure being here with you again this Sunday. Always looking forward to Sundays every week. My favorite time of the week, my favorite day of the week, so I can be here with you guys. A lot going on. Hope you guys are all in tip-top shape today. How many of you guessed I'd be playing this? I don't know if you guys are still doing the guess the guitar. I have to scroll back in the questions, in the comments, to see if anybody guessed. I think I put the reminder in a little bit too late. You guys may have forgotten. This guitar, man, this is a Squier. This is a Squier Contemporary Strat. And this was the sleeper guitar that Fender put out, in my opinion. And I think they actually messed up. The reason why I think they messed up was because this guitar, at the time, when it came out, was very inexpensive. I actually bought two of these because they're so good. I have a red one, and I have this pearl white. Beautiful guitar. This is basically what I consider the poor man's Charvel. Because basically, it's got a lot of the similar appointments. You know, it's got humbuckers, one volume, one tone, 5-way. Actually, this is a 3-way because it's two humbuckers. 2-way switch, standard trem, nice maple neck. And these guitars, man, I think Fender realized they made a mistake, because I think they were actually cannibalizing some of the sales off of the Charvels because they're so similar. I bought two of them right off the bat because I had bought one used. I think I paid it, I don't know, barely $200 at the time. It was brand new. And then I bought another one. And I've been playing these guitars nonstop. I've been, every once in a while I consider selling them, but why? They're so good. I ended up, this one actually has a modern C-shaped neck, and the radius on this is 12-inch. That's why they're contemporary. The fact that they have the humbuckers and all that, synthetic bone nut. The pickups are ceramic, but they sound really good. And there's no reason why not to pick up these, except the fact that you can't get them anymore. So Fender pulled these. They have the ones with the big headstock still. I think you can get them with the Floyd, which I don't really like as much. And they have another version where they have humbuckers that are diagonal. Have you seen those? Not my favorite, but these ones are great, except for being maybe a little bit on the heavy side, just a slightly heavy. Beyond that, great guitars. So I have a patch dialed in. Let me just see something here. I'm using the Hotone Pulse, and I have I think I have a noise gate dialed in, but it's a little bit, the threshold on that is a little bit too low, so I get noise. These strings, since I just changed them not long ago, they're a little bit not stretched. They tend to go out of tune a little bit. I mean, it sounds pretty good to me, I think. So if you can find these somewhere used, get them. They're great guitars. But I've been looking around, and I see that they're out of stock everywhere. They're not being sold anymore. So I think basically Fender pulled them. They're like, oh, hold on a second. We can't sell a guitar that's too close to the Charvel that we can sell for $1,600, where you can get 80% of that guitar or 85% of that guitar for under $500, So you guys, I hope you're doing well. Let me say hi to the boys that are here. I go off on tangents sometimes, guys, so forgive me. I get excited. We have about 30 people or so here today. Welcome. If you don't mind giving me a thumbs up, always appreciated. We're going to be online for a little while here. I don't have a fixed schedule in terms of how long. We'll just keep it going till we can keep it going. And always open to questions. If you're new, please introduce yourself. We're always happy to see new people here. And if you have questions, go ahead and ask. Question mark ahead of the question is always better, so I can see that it's geared for me. Shane says, what year is that Squier? I'm thinking back, this I don't know what year it came out. I'm trying to remember back. I've had it for, I'm going to say, oh, I don't know, man, at least, I'm going to say 8 years. I'm not sure. I lost track of time. Not sure when they came out. If anybody knows, just remind me. But yeah, they're pretty good guitars. I like the paint job on this one too because it's pearl. It's not just white. It's kind of a pearl color. I don't know if you can make it out. It's nice. It's nice. All right. So you guys doing well? All good on your end? So as you saw at the beginning of today's video, just a reminder, there is a contest going on. If you guys want to participate on the live Sunday show, you want to be a guest, well, you can. All you need to do is enter our little contest that we have going. Pretty straightforward. As I mentioned in the preview video, all you need to do is just make a video, keep it short, tell people why you like the Addicted to Gear channel, why you're subscribed, and why you think they should be subscribed. Make it fun and entertaining. Put it out there. Use the Addicted to Gear hashtag, and you know, try and get as many people as you can to watch. The idea here is obviously we want to have the videos with the most views win. So, and you know, there might be more than one winner. Like, we don't necessarily just have to have one guest. We can have a couple of guests at the same time. That could be interesting too. And you know, the deadline is the end of the month. Now, if we don't have a lot of submissions, because I know it's short, it's already the 24th, so I haven't really given you much time. I meant to do this video introducing the contest at the beginning of the month, but I kind of got sidelined with a whole bunch of other stuff, so it didn't get done. So if by the end of the month we don't have that many people, we'll maybe extend it, but we're going to try and aim for the end of the month. Shane says, I entered on Instagram. Yeah, Shane, I saw it, man. Thank you for that. I got that one. So you're entered. You're in the running. We'll see how many other submissions we get. It should be fun. It's going to be nice to see you guys and have an opportunity to talk to some of you guys face to face. And it should be fun for everyone else as well. All right. Just going back here a little bit very quickly. I just want to see if there's any questions. As you guys know, there's a poll question today. So please answer the poll question if you haven't already done so. If you have any new gear you want to share with us, something you want to talk about, something you're eyeing, let us know. We're always more than happy to hear what's going on your end. And let me just see here if there's any questions. So Jack is here. And Jack says, I had a fantastic weekend playing my black and white Les Paul Standard this morning. Well, cheers to that, Jack. Black and white tuxedo Les Paul. Always cool to be rocking a Les Paul. I was playing my Les Paul yesterday a little bit. Just trying out some new pedals and stuff. Danielle's here. Hey, Danielle. Quicksilver. Quicksilver says, long time no see. Welcome back. MFN. Mazzetti's here as well. Hello, Rocksters. Danielle says, anyone ever managed to get the giant green guitar sound? Sorry, the giant. Grant Green. My eyes are failing me. The Grant Green guitar sound and tone I've tried. Don't think I came close. Use ChatGPT as a guide. Hollow guitar with 2 P90s. Henriksen Bud 6 Dream 65 pedal. I haven't tried to get any of the Grant Green tones, so I'm not the one to go to for this. It's interesting that you use ChatGPT as a guide. It's pretty cool. Good thinking. Sometimes you'd be surprised what ChatGPT could come up with. It could help in many ways. But of course, you have to use your own ears at the end of it. I don't know if anybody else has tried. Maybe there's some other tips here. Shane says, new pickup. I haven't installed yet. Shane, what pickup did you get? Who did you get it from? And what are you going to be putting it into? Hey, Vinny's World. Nice to see you. Presley, what's happening, dude? Hope everything's well. Paul says, just when you thought you were safe. All right. So Paul says, which guitar? Easy, the wooden one with the pickups that have magnets in them. Close enough. Close enough, Paul. I think you're actually one of the closest so far. D. Smith's guessed Charvel, which is actually pretty close because this is, like I said, 85 to 90% Charvel right here anyway. Profile to guess Tokai. Not today, Profile. Not today. And so Vinny says Fat Strat, which technically it is. So that's a good guess. And Shane said, oh, a Squier. That's after I showed it though, if I'm not wrong, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so let me just scroll here, guys. John ZD351 says, I have two contemporary Strats. I wish I had a white one, but left these on, only came in black. Fantastic necks. One is being modded with new pickups. And Vegatrem, I made a mirror pickguard for it. Nice. You made the pickguard. Very cool. You know, I'm building a Jimmy Page Dragon Telecaster. I showed it a couple weeks back. Now this is something that I haven't actually moved on too quick. I'm kind of saving that project for winter. The dark winter days when I go into a depression because there's nothing to do. Who's with me on that? I hate winter, guys. I can't stand winter. But basically that one, you know, the Jimmy Page Dragon Telecaster has a very unique pickguard. It's mirrored and it has a little, it's not the typical Telecaster pickguard. It's got a little piece that goes between the switch that sticks out a little bit. Well, I couldn't find one anywhere. I wanted to get one that was pretty much bang on, but I wasn't able to find them. I was sure somebody out there probably makes these, but I guess I was wrong. I had seen them on eBay at one point. So I said, screw that. I'm not going to waste my time. It doesn't have to be identical. So I ended up getting a clear pickguard for it, and I found a matching sort of flip-flop. What do you call them? Like not translucent, but anyways, one of those flip-flop sheets that match the color that Jimmy Page had on his. So I'm ready to go with that. At one point, when I couldn't find the pickguard, I was thinking maybe I'll just make one. But they're not easy to make because you have to make a template and you have to have a router and you got to do all this kind of stuff. I've never made one before. And I thought it was more hassle than it would be worth. So I said, forget it. I'm just going to buy one. It'll be close enough and I'll go with that. And I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. I'm looking forward to putting that guitar together. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's some work that I need to do on it, which should keep me busy for a little while, but it won't be that long. It's going to be a quick build, I think. So John says, I bought a contemporary Strat in July 2020, new. Then a second one used, but it was mint. They were exactly the same serial number, 6 numbers apart. So I don't know if this one came out in 2020. Could it be? It seems like I had it for longer than that. Now, if I go in my videos, I did the camera's getting blurry. What's going on here, guys? There we go. When I did my video review I did a review of this one. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up. I can tell you more or less how long it's been just by going in and taking a look. Let me see. Okay, so I definitely these. Okay, so this, if I'm not mistaken, these are 2018s. That's when they came out. And I ended up getting mine around 2018 or so. I made a video there 7 years ago on this, and then I made another one 6 years ago where I changed, what did I do? Did I change the pickups on this? No, I don't think I did. But I did a review of this one, and I compared the 2018s at the time. So yeah, these are, man, time flies. 7 years already. Sometimes I just get a mental block on how long I've had certain guitars. Vox, you're right. Yeah, it is a Squier. Squier Contemporary, that's what we're talking about. So Rich says, I picked up 2 super clean Epiphone Vs. I'm falling in love with the Vs all over again. That's one guitar I never owned. I never owned a Flying V. A buddy of mine had one back in high school, and I believe it was a real Gibson. It was not an Epiphone. And I remember him coming over with the guitar, and we plugged it in my garage, my parents' garage. And we rocked that Flying V quite a bit. It felt great, but it was a little awkward just being able to play it because of the way it rested on your lap. Vox, no worries, man. Better late than never. Shane says, I tried a lefty player 2 weeks ago. Nice, but I'm not buying it. Why don't you like it? Or why don't you want to buy it? Is it just price, features? What's the story on that? John, exactly, holographic pickguard. That's the word I was looking for. Holographic, not flip-flop. But you know you knew what I meant. The holographic stuff, exactly. So Shane says, out of wife is restricting my spending money. Oh, I see. So she's watching you. She's watching you. Hey man, it just another reason to enjoy the guitars you already have. Oftentimes, us addicted folks, you know, we have a problem, right? I'm the first one to admit it. I got a problem, probably more than one, and they're hard to pronounce. But the idea is that when you have an addiction, you know, you'll buy something and then immediately you'll start looking for something else. Why is that? Why is that? Why are we never satisfied with what we already have? It's a problem. It really is. It's a good problem, but it's still a problem. Okay, not a good problem. It's a fun problem. But I admit it. That's why I started this channel. I'm not the only one. I see you guys tuning in every week, so I know you guys are with me on this. So Danielle did a little bit more research, it seems. Grant Green primarily used a Fender Deluxe 5E3 circuit in the studio. You know, a lot of these old records, Danielle, like, who knows what they used in the studio? It's hard to tell. Sometimes it's well documented, other times it's not. Certain people will use like so many different things. Some people will even just go through the console. They won't even use an amp per se. You know, Jimmy Page was one that is very notorious for that. Like, there's a lot of rumors about what he actually used in the studio, but who knows? Many times we're looking at what he's playing on stage, you know, and think that's what he's using in the studio, but a lot of times it isn't. And other people like Billy Gibbons, for example, there's a lot of mystery around what he uses, even on stage. he's constantly using different stuff. I've been sort of eyeballing what he used. I love the tone that he gets. The early ZZ Top tone was tremendous, in my opinion. But who knows what he was using at the time? Hard to say. D. Smith said, had a Gibson V for 2 years, was never able to bond with it, unfortunately. It is a very unorthodox type of guitar. I feel like that guitar, like the Firebird, takes a little bit of getting used to. I think the guitars that probably take the most getting used to, in my opinion, there's the Destroyer, or Explorer. Destroyer, Explorer. I'm going to say the larger semi-hollow body guitars, the 335s, those type of bodies. Definitely take more time. The Firebirds and the Vs. Those are the ones I feel take a little bit more time. They feel a little bit more awkward when you're playing them. Jack says, Tony, it's the thrill of the hunt. Yeah, I think so, Jack. It has something to do with that, you know. It's inbred. Inbred? No. Ingrained. Inbred, that's a whole other show. It's ingrained. I think we're hardwired. We're hunters, after all, right? When it comes to women, guitars, all that kind of stuff, you know, we're hunters. So maybe that has something to do with it. John doesn't feel like he's suffering. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, there's definitely worse things to suffer from, John, than gear addiction, in my opinion. Shane says he sold a Tokai LP, Les Paul. Kind of miss it. Well, you know what that means. There's room for another one. Steven says, I don't have an addiction. I'm just musical instrument investor. Yeah, well, maybe you can consider it an investment. There's definitely worse things to spend your money on. It seems to a certain extent, certain instruments do gain value if you hang on to them long enough, as opposed to other things. You know, we look at cars and stuff like that. People love cars. That's not an investment at all. So, depending on how picky you are and which instruments you buy, you make the right choices. Yeah, you could consider it. You can consider it an investment, but you have to sit on it for a while. Anyways, Quicksilver says I got two GP5s, and the NAM profiles sound like ass. He says. You don't like the GP5? How come? And you say the profiles sound like ass? Don't use the profiles. You don't have to. Build your own, man. Many times these units out of the factory sometimes don't sound good. And I always feel like when I play these things, I kind of gloss over the factory settings and I build my own. And you don't have to necessarily go with their profiles. You know what I mean? Most of the time you can build one that sounds better. Also depends what you're playing it through. Ian's Guitar Shack is here. He says, good and happy Sunday to you all. Thanks, Ian. Great to see you, buddy. You know, I'm so happy to see you guys. Honestly, I love being able to come here and see all the familiar names and you guys coming in over and over again. It wouldn't hurt to see a few new faces, but hey, man, I'm not knocking it. I think we have a good group here. And you guys are awesome with the support of the channel. I appreciate it. And also with the great questions and just tuning in regularly. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, Firebirds feel like they're too long when I play them while sitting. Yeah, they do feel that way. They do feel that way. Shane says Firebirds are one of the worst designed guitars ever. I mean, I tried to like the one I had, and it was a little bit too much of a struggle for me. You know, at my age, not that I'm an old man yet, hopefully. Well, it depends who you're asking, but you know, after trying so many guitars, I don't want to struggle with guitars. And if I have to struggle with a guitar, I'm kind of like, there's so many other guitars to choose that don't make me struggle. You know, even though I think the look of the Firebird is cool, the one I tried at least didn't feel natural to me. So I wasn't upset not to keep it. The Ibanez Fireman seemed to be awkward. Not really sure. Never held one. Yeah, I never played one of those either. But yeah, I think those would be kind of awkward too. The BC Rich Bitch also probably kind of a weird. I don't know. I never tried that one. I'm not into pointy guitars all that much. I like sort of the natural, you know, contours of the Fender. The guitars that I have that are kind of a little bit more square feeling, like the Telecasters. You know, a Telecaster is basically a block of wood. That was before Leo started putting the contours on them. But now you could even get Telecasters that have the contours on them if you want. Those feel really nice. One of the nicest feeling Telecaster style guitars that I've ever held was a Sir. It was a Sir T-style guitar, which they're Telecaster models. Amazing. Man, I should have bought that guitar. I wish I had the cash to do it when I tried it. The neck on that felt wonderful. The body had the contours and everything. Felt really, really great. It just was, I wasn't, like I hadn't gone into the store looking for it. I had gone in there to pick up a power supply for my pedal board. And the guy was sort of liquidating stuff because he was moving his shop somewhere else. And there was one on the wall. And I looked at it and I'm like, man, that's a nice guitar. Somebody walked in while I was there, tried it and bought it immediately and left with it. But I remember playing it and I'm like, wow, this is a really nice guitar. Too bad they're so darn expensive. That's the only issue with that. So one thing I wanted to talk about, there's actually this week I was death scrolling on YouTube, and I noticed somebody uploaded a new Stevie Ray Vaughan concert that I have never seen before. And it's a full concert. It's HD format, which is not bad. It's from 1985, live at the Capitol Theater. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but if you are a Stevie Ray Vaughan fan, like I am a Stevie Ray Vaughan fan, I can never get enough of these videos. Check it out. Just type in Stevie Ray Vaughan full concert live at the Capitol Theater 1985. You'll see it. You'll find it. Great show, man. Great show. Just brought me back to the 80s. The 80s were a good time. I had a lot of fun back in the 80s. I miss the 80s. Vox says the 69 Firebird is awesome, but hard on gas, he says. Oh yeah, man. You do have to play classical style to sit down with the V, it's true. You need that footrest that they use, the classical guitarists use. You got to put up the leg just to keep it in place, or jam it in between your legs. That's the only way you can keep those things under control. You can't wear slippery pants. It's got to have grips. Otherwise, it slides right off your leg. Danielle says the last Benedetto purchased came with a triple layer neck binding. Often find it distracting. Usually, visually almost looks like I'm seeing extra strings. Really? Yeah, I could see how that could happen if you have the binding on the side. Yeah, the Eastman that I have has that kind of binding on it, but I don't find it distracting on that guitar. It's only distracting if you look at your fretboard. Don't look at your fretboard when you play. You won't have any issues. John says, watching this video and I'm getting more annoyed each minute that I don't have a white Strat with a black pickguard. Dude, I'm not here to annoy anybody. Don't pay attention to the guitar, man. That's an easy problem to fix. I'm sure if you go on Reverb and you go on eBay and stuff like that, you'll probably still find these. Probably not that expensive. Shane says, if you could only have one multi-effects board, what do you choose? Now, you're asking me, Shane, so I'm going to give you the answer real quick. I'm going to say the Fractal FM9. Bar none. Once you have that, you don't need anything else. Not because, you know, how can I put this, man? It's got everything that you need in it. It's got plenty of power, plenty more than you can dream of spaces for patches in this thing. Plenty of just flexibility. There's stuff you can do with this thing that I don't even know you can do with this thing yet. But I've seen crazy things being done with this. So in terms of flexibility, sound quality, it's a professional unit. It's expensive, but let me tell you, it's going to take you a while to get like done with this unit. You know, if you're trying to squeeze every last, you know, drop of sound out of a multi-effects unit, some multi-effects units that are less expensive, you can hit that wall pretty quick. With the Fractal, haven't gotten there yet. And honestly, I can probably keep this one forever. I know that there's going to be a new one that's going to be coming out, and then eventually I'm going to be psyched and maybe want to buy something, maybe want to get the latest one or whatever. But for the time being, this thing rocks. The only reason I would probably sell it and get something newer is sort of like the fact that you don't want to lose most of your investment because they're not cheap. So if you sell it, you can probably still get a lot of your money back and then upgrade to the new one for not too much money. If you keep it, you know how the story goes, then you kind of have to make that a big purchase. But it's expensive, but I'm telling you that this is why professionals, a lot of professionals use this thing. Glad to hear it, John. I'm glad I'm not annoying you, man. I'm not here to annoy anybody. That might not be the same answer my wife gives you, but that's a whole different story. Gene says, Tony, I see Amazon has a few Squier contemporary guitars. Nice. They probably do, Gene, but I don't know if it's this model. Let me see. Actually, I think the one that you're probably going to be looking at or seeing on Amazon are probably the ones that are... I'm going to go to the American Amazon, not the Canadian one, because usually don't find these. On the Canadian side. Yeah, so I'm on Amazon right now and just looking through. So I can see they have something called the Contemporary Strat, but that's the one that has the angled pickups, humbucker, and single coil at an angle. They have that one listed, but I think it's not available. Only used, I think. You can probably get that one used. I'm looking for this one. So they have another one, which is the Fire Affinity, which looks similar to this one, but has the big headstock, not the same guitar. I don't see this model. I'm telling you, man, Fender wiped it. They got rid of them, man. They got rid of them. Shane says, it looks like Behringer won the Klon lawsuit. Really? I haven't kept up on the news with that. I kind of got tired of it after a while. There was just too much hype. So give me the details, Shane. What ended up happening? How did they win? I'm surprised that they won. Vox is waiting for the Behringer Fractal. Should be coming any day now. They're working hard on something new. Well, if Behringer won the lawsuit, you know what that means. The floodgates are going to open. Who knows what they're going to be coming out with next? Vox has been digging the Jazzmaster lately, but don't own one. Don't tell the wife. Yeah, keep it quiet. You got to keep it quiet. So going back to what I was saying about Stevie Ray Vaughan, that concert, really cool, brought me back to the 80s. I never realized, and I just like to do research sometimes when I fall down the rabbit hole. You guys know that the bass player Tommy Shannon from Stevie Ray Vaughan's band used to play with, I believe it was Johnny Winter, if I'm not mistaken, before he actually joined with Stevie Ray Vaughan. And it's funny because, you know, he had a rough young life. He ended up getting stuck on drugs. He ended up going to jail a couple of times, and he worked construction because he lost everything at one point. All he had was his bass. He had like no money or anything, and he started working construction till he was finally able to get back on his feet. And then he ended up, I think, playing a gig with Rocky Hill, which a lot of you might not know is Dusty Hill's brother. Don't ask me about the names. This is like funny. Rocky Hill, Dusty Hill. Basically the brother of ZZ Top's Dusty Hill. And apparently he was living in Houston, and he ended up going to a club, and he saw Stevie Ray Vaughan playing there. And he said that a beam of light just went through him, telling him he was at the right place, and he was meant to be there. And they didn't know each other at the time, but he went over to Stevie Ray Vaughan during a break apparently, and he said to him, I belong in this band, and I want to play bass with you. And he ended up sitting in, and he had a really good session with him, and I guess things clicked. And about a month later, Stevie Ray Vaughan called him, asked him to join the band. Crazy if you think about it. And the rest is history. You know, he was with Stevie Ray Vaughan till the end. And, you know, I believe he's a very underestimated bass player. I know we don't always talk about bass or bass guitar or bassists here, but, you know, because I'm a big Stevie Ray Vaughan fan, and I saw him live, and I can attest the bass portion of the Stevie Ray Vaughan show was quite important, as well as the drums. The drums were always solid. He had a great backing musicians, and at one point they also had introduced a keyboard player, but I don't remember his name. That was late in the day, after the drugs, after Stevie got cleaned up, towards the end of his career, unfortunately. Man, if Stevie was still around today, who knows what kind of music he would have put out. He was definitely a phenom when it came to playing guitar. I miss Stevie. I miss him a lot. Cool Tune says, Tony, what do you use to record your videos? I want to improve my YouTube video audio. Can I use interface with my phone? Any tips? Yeah, Cool Tunes. You can use, there's a lot of microphones these days that will allow you to plug into your phone. This one, I don't usually do it often, but if you want, you can get this. This is called the Hollyland Lark M2, and this has little adapters. Let me show you these. Because when you're filming with a phone, oftentimes the audio on the phone is not great. So you have these little adapters like that. You can plug into the bottom of your phone. They have different ones. USB-C, and I think they have the standard, the ones for the Apple devices as well. There's two different ones. You can plug them into your phone and use those. They work really, really well. They also have these little lapel mics that you can actually stick on with magnets. I used to have the ones that you would clip on, but they were bigger and you had to like clip them on, and sometimes you don't have anywhere to clip. They're not inexpensive, but they're a definite investment. They work really, really well. Hey, Boomerang, I'm good. How are you, man? Nice to see you, buddy. Hope everything's good. What's new on your end? What are you eyeballing? Any new gear? What are you enjoying playing? Tell me. I'm all ears. Yeah, Jack, those videos with Stevie Ray Vaughan and Albert King, I still have one. I think I ended up putting it on a CD or a DVD or something like that. I had to keep it. That came across on TV. I remember watching it on TV. That was epic, man. Albert King was always Stevie Ray Vaughan's mentor. You know, if you see how Stevie Ray Vaughan plays, how he bends his strings, and sort of how he puts the inflections on his playing, that's completely Albert King. And it was cool to see him playing with Albert King, man. And you could tell in that video, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jack, maybe you noticed this, I'm not sure if you have, but if you watch it, you can tell at the very beginning of the video, I feel like Stevie Ray Vaughan's holding back out of respect, because Albert's singing in those videos, and I think Stevie didn't want to be a showboat, but you can tell, you know, like Stevie can sort of, he can blow anyone out of the water when he's playing. But in that video, he's kind of holding back, I felt. If you guys haven't seen that video and you're a fan of both Albert King and Stevie Ray Vaughan, you must see that video. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So, interesting thing I saw being teased by Gibson. Apparently, and this came across my social media feed, maybe some of you saw this, maybe you didn't. I saw that Gibson is teasing a Back to the Future ES345 replica. The Back to the Future guitar, that's the guitar that you see him playing in the movie. It's an ES345. And apparently they're talking about, and this, I don't know if this is going to happen or not. It's only hearsay at this point, but they're looking for that guitar. So I mentioned this a couple of weeks back, that Gibson is looking for the guitar that actually was in the Back to the Future film, because that has some history. It's probably going to be worth a lot of money if it's somebody that owns it. If you're a collector, that's definitely a cool guitar to have. So they're looking for it. The CEO of Gibson is saying that they're looking for it, but they've now teased that a custom shop reissue of that iconic guitar is on the way. So they're working on a replica. I'm disappointed to hear that it's a custom shop. That means it's going to be extremely expensive, probably not attainable. But they're also teasing that they might actually come out with an Epiphone version of that guitar, which could be interesting, depending on how they're going to be making it and how much it's going to cost. Could be an interesting thing. If the Epiphone is worth, I mean, if it comes out and it's well built, especially if they put the Gibson headstock on it, because now certain Epiphone models are coming out with the Gibson open book headstock design. Like they had the Inspired By, and some of them have the open book that look identical to the Gibson ones. I'd be interested in checking those out. I haven't seen any of those in the wild, by the way, with those headstocks. I watched it on PBS. Stevie and Albert says Ian Guitar Shack. That's where I watched it too. Exactly. Yeah, I remember that, man. I was a kid. I'm just scrolling here. Jack says, I agree with you 100%. Show of respect, indeed. Indeed. Respect your elders. Hey, man, it was a privilege for Stevie to be there up there with Albert, you know. Especially, not to be racist or anything like that, but, you know, Stevie's a white guy, white dude, you know, out of Texas. If he's respected by somebody like Albert King, that is a big, big sign in the world of the blues, you know. Shane says, manufactured drama by Gibson. Hey, man, the marketing team has to work for their money. They got to come up with something. It's manufactured 100%, Shane. But at the end of the day, they got to sell guitars. They got to find new ways to make them enticing, right? You know, they're looking for how to make things stand out. Like, what makes this guitar special? Well, if it's just a replica of an ES345, no big deal. But if you say, hey, it's a replica of the one that was, you know, in the Back to the Future series, there's a lot of fans that love that show. I love that show. Yep. Shane says, and the Fender Tweet or Twin, I think you meant Twin, amp that Marty kicks over wasn't invented until 1959. Yeah, there's a lot of things that didn't match up with the dates. The guitar, the amp. I guess, you know, there wasn't somebody representing musicians on that movie set to make sure the dates were right, because they weren't using the right guitars. It's funny because the guitar that Marty is using at the beginning is a Ibanez Roadstar 2. And that was like my first guitar. He's not playing the same model, but that's the one that he had. And it was cool because that was around my days. And I remember that Roadstar that I owned that I liked. I should never have sold that thing. They do pop up once in a while, but I haven't ever found the one I sold, which I'd probably buy back if I find it. So Paul says he's got a suggestion of the week. Paul, I appreciate it. Paul says the Moore Soul Shifter. Can you say that 5 times fast? The Moore Soul Shifter. Cheap but great sounding rotary Leslie cab simulation, $60 USD. All others are 3 times the money or more. So Paul, can you tell me if maybe you know, maybe you don't, any issues with buying these pedals with all the tariff stuff happening? There's a lot of people there's a couple of people actually this week that have put out some pretty important notices that are not pleasing to see. That pedal show, I don't know if you guys are fans of that pedal show. Have you seen? Maybe you watch it, maybe you don't. It's a cool show, a cool channel if you're into pedals. They put out an announcement this week that says the Pedal Show store has temporarily stopped shipping to our friends in the USA. Why? Because from the 29th of August, all parcels entering the USA will now be liable for duties and taxes. These must be prepaid before any parcels arrive in the US. So they're going on to say, is this a new thing? Yes and no. Until now, everyone in the USA has been able to receive imported parcels up to the value of $800 a day duty-free. On the 29th of August, this ends. All shipping companies are set up to manage imports and exports and duties and taxes on behalf of shippers and customers. That's good. So basically what they're saying is, because they're in Europe, so anything they're shipping into the States is going to be tariffed. The way the tariffs work is that the person receiving the shipment is going to be paying the tariffs. So if you're in the United States and you order something from, let's say, Thomann let's say you order from these guys that are in Europe. When it arrives in the US, you're going to be paying tariffs on those things. It used to be that anything under $800 was not applicable. That's changed. So now, depending on where you're getting your stuff from, things might change. The second one that I saw was from PAL Effects. I did a pedal review on one of their really good effects pedals, which is sort of a JCM 800 Marshall type pedal. Awesome pedal. And they put out a notice to their US customers as well. And their notice says, "Dear customers, we've temporarily suspended orders to the US until we are clear on the new tariff policy after the suspension of minimus starting August 29. That's the same thing. Anything under $800 is now going to be tariffed. Despite this, if you still wish to place an order for any of our pedals, you can contact us at our official Reverb shop, which is Pedal Pal Effects, or at contact@pedalpaleffects.com. So again, I don't know how much this is going to affect the people in the States, but I have a feeling that prices obviously will be going up if you're buying things, imports. So all of a sudden, I'm thinking anything made outside of the US, Indonesia, China, Europe, Korea, Japan, any of those guitars coming in are going to go up in price, unfortunately. So I don't know if that's going to limit what you guys are going to be buying and what you're looking at in the future. But it's a reality, and it's happening right now. Give me your thoughts on that. Searching for Tone says, and he's answering. Zach Thong says, "Still could hear you with my headphones. Sounded good." I'm not sure what that conversation was about. John ZD351 says, "I've seen a lot of international stores not shipping to the USA for this reason." Well, I think a lot of people still will be shipping to the US, but they're just trying to make the customers aware that they're going to be paying for those products coming in. I think at the beginning of all this, people were confused because the way Trump made it sound, he made it sound like it would be a great thing for the US people. And a lot of people kind of misheard that and automatically thought, well, we're not the ones going to be paying the tariffs. The people shipping in the stuff are going to be paying the tariffs. Right? Wrong. That's not how it works. So, unfortunately, that's what we're dealing with right now. Steven says, Emerald Guitars just opened a showroom store in Florida. They pay the tariffs prior to the sale. That's different because they're in Florida. They're in the States. Not the same thing. This is stuff coming into the States. Quicksilver says, "Why is everyone losing their heads over import tax? We do it here in the EU all the time. 21% VAT instantly and about 5% for processing. Welcome to the real world." Hey man, I know a lot of people do it. We do it here in Canada too. Everyone does it to a certain degree. It's just because this is new. So people are not used to it. Shane says, "Trump hates guitarists because his hands are so small." Maybe. Quicksilver says, "Wait. Pedal Pal Effects is scared of tariffs? I thought they operated out of Venezuela." Mind-blowing, actually. So they operate out of the US then? No, they don't. No. You're missing the point, dude. They're importing into the US. That's why they're getting hit by the tariffs. I think some people are still confused about how this tariff stuff is working. So John says, "Is a tariff levied on where it ships from or country of origin of the actual goods? Would a made in the US Strat bought from Germany attract a tariff?" Good question. I'm not sure how that's going to work because I think it has to do with what percentage of the goods are actually made in the US as opposed to outside the US. So for example, if you're buying a car, a lot of the car companies, all the parts, there's a million parts in a car. And these parts come from all over the world. So they can't just tariff the car 100% because they're getting parts from the US, the steel's coming from Canada, rubber, glass, all this kind of stuff's coming from places all over the world. So it wouldn't make sense to say that car is going to be tariffed 100%. So what they need to do, they break it down. They break it down and they say, well, what percentage of that car is actually made outside of the US? And that is the percentage that is tariffed. It's a big headache. It's a big headache, guys. Zarly Z says, hi Tony, I live in BC, purchased from StuMac and Pedalboard with no duties. It's different for Canada. Canada's different. It's when you're shipping into the United States. Into Canada won't make a difference. It's the same. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's from Ireland, if it's from UK, whatever. There might be some duties to be paid, but it's not the same as when it goes into the US. If it comes to Canada, it's fine. Dan Steely says, if you earn money in Europe, why wouldn't you pay taxes? Taxes are one thing, duties are another though. Tariffs, not the same. Everybody pays taxes. I don't think anybody doesn't pay taxes. Okay, enough about tariffs. They're giving me heartburn. Let's talk about something else. Not the most pleasant thing to be talking about this Sunday. Guys, please, I want to remind you guys, give me some thumbs up if you don't mind. There's 57 people here, only 25 thumbs. I'm feeling a little bit sad about that. Maybe you can make me feel better. Would appreciate it. As I mentioned at the beginning, just in case you came in late, there is a contest here going on, guys. I did a little video and it was being played before the show started today. If you want to be a guest on the Addicted to Gear show, and why wouldn't you want to be a guest? It'll be a lot of fun. You can actually participate in a contest. All you need to do is make a little video. If you have a YouTube channel or if you have, access to YouTube, excuse me, just make a little video. Tell us about why you like the Addicted to Gear show. Make it fun. Put it up there. Let us know that you did so. You can actually put the comment right on the video where I'm announcing the contest, so I get a chance to see it. And then we're going to keep an eye on them. We're going to see who gets the most views, and then we're going to pick a couple of winners. All you got to do is get it in before the end of the month, and we'll probably select 2 or 3 guests, and we can have you on at the same time. It'd be cool. Hey, an opportunity to listen to somebody other than myself only could be a lot more interesting. And we actually will be able to ask questions live and do all that fun stuff. I think it's going to be fun. I've been meaning to do this, and I wanted to have some guests on the show for a while because it gets lonely here after a while. And I think this is a great way to do it, and also see what you can do on your creative side with your little videos. I know that Shane has already done one, so Shane is ahead of all you guys. He's racking up views on his video, so you guys gonna need to catch up. John says, poll question. Yeah, there's a poll question. Gene says, poll question was funny. Funny how? Like a clown, Gene? One of my favorite movies. Okay, let's go to the poll question. Why shouldn't we take a look at that now? I don't know how many people voted. I put that on late last night. I had to think about it for a while because I didn't want to ask a typical question. So I asked this one. The question was, would you still pay big money to see your favorite band if they started to lip sync most songs? And the reason why I thought about that poll question is quite simple, because more and more bands that I see today seem to be lip syncing now. especially bands that have come back, that might not be able to do it like they did back in the day. It's unfortunate, but I think this is happening more and more than we think. So I wanted to ask you guys, I know how I feel about it. I'll share my thoughts on that in a minute, but I wanted to get your opinion. And look, I'm going to tell you a few things. First of all, ZZ Top. I know 100% ZZ Top has been, when I say ZZ Top, the band, I'm talking about Billy Gibbons because he's the only one fronting the band right now, from, doing the singing. He's lip syncing. Not all the songs, but a big majority of the songs. If you listen to all the early stuff, I'm gonna call it the disco ZZ Top era, Eliminator, that period. All that stuff, if you watch videos, recent videos, you'll see he's lip singing. The other stuff, not so much, but there's a big portion where he is, okay? And I understand he might not be able to do it anymore. I like ZZ Top. I don't know if I'd go see them live. I've never actually seen ZZ Top live because I find things get a little boring after a while. I love Billy Gibbons. I love his playing, and but I don't know if I'm going to be able to sit through an entire concert. But they're for sure lip syncing. We all know about Motley Crue. Motley Crue came back recently, and Vince Neil was having a hard time and didn't sound very good. Nikki Sixx, there's a couple of videos that have come out where he's playing bass and he stops playing. Somebody walks on stage and he stops playing, but the bass is still going. There's a lot of things that are happening, okay? Not to mention the bands that are obviously lip syncing, all the new pop bands and stuff where they're doing all the dance moves and stuff. A big portion of that stuff is lip syncing. The Madonna comeback, where she came back recently, that's lip syncing as well. So for me, if I'm going to be paying my money, I don't want to be watching somebody lip sync. I thought, for me, I'm paying hard-earned money. I want to see a performance. So, if for example, I went to see the Police when they came back. Great show, by the way. If they were lip syncing, man, I would be so pissed off. Obviously, they were not. I went to see a couple of other bands that I really liked, and thankfully, none of them were lip syncing. I had gone to see Paul McCartney back in the day. He pulled through. That was when he still had his voice, by the way. Now he's having a harder time pulling through. Fleetwood Mac, went to see them. Great show. No lip syncing. But if, I would not go see a band if they were lip syncing. So I wanted to put out that poll question to you guys. And as I suspected, 79% of you said no way you wouldn't want to go see a band if they were lip syncing. And I totally agree with you guys. 16% said probably not. 5% said maybe if the show's great. I don't know what you mean by great if the performance is not there. You're talking about like the light show, the dancing, choreography, things like that. I'm not really sure what that means. But 5% of you said maybe if the show's great. 1% said yes, still worth it. So there you go. Now maybe that 1% is the people that would still like to go see Billy Gibbons playing and don't really care about his singing. I get that. That could be the reason. There were a couple of comments. I want to read those. I'm curious to see what you guys think about this. Somebody says, big negative, if you can't sing, perform anymore, then stop touring. Like if you look at the Rolling Stones, they're getting there now, but they're still doing it and they're still singing. Yeah, they forget the words sometimes. They maybe don't sing in key anymore, but at least they're doing it. Someone else says, I'll sit at home and stream their tunes if that's the case, which I kind of agree. If you're paying big money. And Paul says, like most people, I wouldn't even recognize most of the band members. So as such, it is only hearing the skills or lack of them that I would be coming for. I would be comparing all to Hendrix, Cream, King Crimson, and even the Stones in their prime playing live. Add to that, I could never get backstage like I did back then. That's why I've become more and more picky about the shows I go and watch these days. Some people are like, hey, let's go watch this band and that band. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm fine. Depending on who it is, you know, but generally there's less and less bands that will entice me to spend my money. Jean-Pierre. Hey, JP, what's going on, dude? So Jean-Pierre says, I saw Jethro Tull in 2007. Ian Anderson should have been lip-syncing. His voice was terrible. Really? That bad, huh? Well, I know that somebody mentioned that they went to see, I'm thinking now, there's a couple of bands, so there's a couple of people that that could have very well retired back in the day. I'm trying to think of the name now. It escapes me. It'll come back to me. But there's a couple of people that are doing it just strictly for the money. One of the guys that somebody told me was terrible was Bob Dylan. But that doesn't surprise me because Bob Dylan wasn't a great singer back in the day either. Apparently he's worse now. Big surprise. And then, of course, there's the people that are playing. They can still sing, but are just doing it like for the money. One of the people, one of the stories that I heard, and I don't know if this is true or not. This is just something that I heard somebody tell me. They went to see a Van Morrison concert, and Van Morrison was on stage. He had an alarm clock, like those big alarm clocks that you have, on the side of your bed. And he had it set to exactly the length of the show. And he was singing his songs. When that thing went off, it's thank you, good night, and he's off the stage. Now, I don't know if he was doing that because he had to be off the stage at that time, but it gave the impression that he didn't necessarily want to be there. Oh yeah, John says, I love Kiss, but the last show I attended was the Symphony in 2003. Later tours, I knew Paul's voice was gone and didn't want to see that. I don't know how much they're lip syncing, but I have a feeling there's a good chunk of their show that also is basically lip syncing as well, for sure. I mean, if you like the performer, go and see them. But I mean, then if you go there and they're lip syncing, you can't bitch. You know what I mean? Shane's asking, anyone original in Foreigner Sticks? I have no clue, Shane. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I had some friends that recently went to see some old bands. One of my friends went to see Tears for Fears. They said it was an awesome show. So apparently they can still do it. Tears for Fears was one of them. Who was the other one? Oh, Alive and Kicking. Who sings that song? I'm getting a brain fart. You know who it is. Breakfast Club. Don't You Forget About Me. What's the name of that band again? Damn. It's still too early. Anyways, they went to see that band. They said it was rock and roll. They did it. Still singing, no problem. So there's a lot of older bands that can still do it. Hey, I think, was it yesterday? I think yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, was Birthday of the late, great drummer from The Who. I don't know if it was yesterday. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was. But we can't forget about him. He's probably up there in heaven playing drums right now, making explosions go off. One of the best drummers in the world. And he's still loved by a lot of people, and I think his birthday was yesterday. So happy heavenly birthday to one of the most flamboyant drummers in the world. I don't know if we have Who fans in the house. Simple Minds. That's it, Ian. Man, why did I forget about that? Yeah, they do look old, Shane, because they are old. Unfortunately, we tend to forget that time keeps moving, man. Yeah, they look old, but they can still sing. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's who I'm talking about. Keith Moon. Yeah, Moon the Loon. I'm pretty sure his birthday was yesterday, right, guys? Am I wrong on that? Correct me if I'm mistaken. But I'm pretty sure it was yesterday. What else I want to talk about? There was another interesting article. I don't know what's wrong with my voice, man. I have something, I think it's allergies, but I got to drink some water. There was another interesting article, because we were talking about Gibson guitars earlier, and they're redoing the Back to the Future thing. There was an article that mentioned that back in the day, like a 52 Les Paul was not a cool guitar to own. And a lot of people were saying like they remember these guitars hanging around and fading in the shop windows for like months on end because people wouldn't buy them. So it's funny how that thing came around 360. I mean, now if you can find a 1952 Les Paul, you hit the jackpot, right? Because they're very collectible. But back in those days, it was like overlooked. And it's interesting to hear that story. Now the 52s, typically those are the gold tops that came out with the P90s. And those are very, very rare. If you find one of those today, man, snag it because it's worth a lot of money. But back in the day, people didn't like them. I think we don't really realize how the market's changed over the years. And things have sort of like matured, like a fine wine. Like at the beginning, people were like, I don't know about these guitars. You know, maybe I'll go with a Strat instead. I think the Strats were selling better than the Gibsons back in the day. But over time, things have changed tremendously. It just wasn't a cool guitar to own back in the day. I think if you're looking at a 52, people tended to get the later models, the 54s, the 55s, the 56s. And for whatever reason, the 52s were considered like not good guitars. And they were pretty inexpensive back in the day. I mean, they used to go, I believe they were listed at about $600 back then. And they'd be listed there and they'd be in the shop windows for months on end. And nobody would be buying them. Could you imagine if you picked up a couple of those guitars and you have them now? That would have been a smart investment. Who knew, right? I wish we could go back in time. We need a time machine. Zarly wants to know, have you used any of the Spark amps? And are you still enjoying the Pulse Mini? Yeah, that's what I'm playing through right now. That's what I have plugged in right here. The Pulse Mini. Can you hear it? Ooh, my guitar's out of tune. Sorry, guys. This guitar is out of tune because I haven't played it much and the strings are relatively new. So I need to tune up real quick. It's always that G string for whatever reason. That B. Oof. Okay. That should be a little bit better. These are ceramic pickups, as I mentioned earlier on. They're okay. I like this guitar. Moon, the guy who named Led Zeppelin. Yeah, I think he was. That is actually a fact. So he was born the 23rd of August, right? That's it, yesterday. And he died on the 7th of September, 1978. Sad day. Danielle says, a friend of mine has been using a Spark amp live quite often lately. Just drops a pair of side address microphones in front of the amp. I'm surprised. I guess you could do that, depending on what kind of gig you're playing. Yeah, you can definitely do that. There's a lot of great gear coming out, guys. A lot of stuff that, you know, is making it so much easier to practice. The little Spark, you know, I've charged it up a little while ago. I haven't had to charge it up. Not the Spark, sorry, the Pulse. I charged it up a while ago. It's been working perfect ever since. And through headphones sounds great. Jean-Pierre says, amazing that Jim Kerr didn't want to record Don't You Forget About Me, and it became the biggest hit. You know, there's a lot of stories like that, JP, a lot of artists that made a soundtrack for a movie that became a phenomenon and probably made more money with that one song than they ever did with anything else. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Now, if you guys remember the movie Ghostbusters, right? You remember that song, Who You Gonna Call? Ghostbusters, right? That song became a phenomenal hit. And the poor artist that recorded that song has to sing that song forever after that. And it's a sucky song. So imagine you put out all this great music and that's the song that makes the charts because of the movie. That's a hard pill to swallow sometimes. Shane says, thoughts on Universal Music trying to get Rick Beato banned from YouTube. You know what? I hope that this becomes a big thing, because I think Rick has the pull and can probably get the support needed to shine light on all of this stuff going on in terms of getting strikes on your channel because you use a portion of the music. It doesn't make sense. The whole mechanism behind all of that does not make sense. And I think Rick will be able to push through on this one. And it's due. I back Rick 100%. 110% even. And I know a lot of YouTubers, if not all the YouTubers, will back him. I've been hit with stuff like that where I'm playing, you know, I'm trying to show a guitar or an amplifier or a pedal, and I play a portion of a song, small portion, and all of a sudden that video gets demonetized, even if I played like not even 30 seconds of the song. That's not fair. I put in hard work into the song, into the movie, video, and you know, you should be able to use a small portion. And even if you have to pay, you know, pay a portion, your video shouldn't be demonetized. I think that's not fair. Huey Lewis was another one, right? That actually had a big hit, and that The Power of Love. That was also on the Back to the Future soundtrack. And Huey Lewis was talking about that, saying how much money he made from that one song, and he didn't feel it was a very strong song, and it didn't really have anything to do with the movie either. You know, but it became a huge hit. So you never know. Never throw away an idea, man. It could pay for your house if you're lucky. So guys, if you don't feel like you're getting old, this little tidbit will probably change that. The first commercial compact disc was created 43 years ago. Nearly 1 billion CDs were shipped per year in the early 2000s. Do we all remember the CDs? That was cutting edge back then. I remember thinking, wow, CDs are going to be here to stay. What could be better? Wrong again. I still have my collection of CDs. I refuse to get rid of them. I probably have quite a few hundred here. And I don't listen to them anymore because now it's not convenient. I have everything in my phone. But I think they're going to come back. I'm hoping they're going to come back so I don't have to sell them for $1 each. What do you guys think? Do you think the CDs are going to come back just like vinyl did? I'm not sure. I know vinyl came back pretty big. And I'm blown away by the cost of vinyl, by the way. I mean, you used to be able to buy an album on vinyl for like, anywhere from 10 to 22 bucks, depending if it was a single or a double album. Nowadays, that's gone out the window and things are very expensive again. But I don't know if that's going to happen with CDs. I'm holding on. I'm holding on. I'm not selling them yet. I have a few friends that have a very nice CD collection. I can tell you that. Yes, Shane, you can, of course. Yeah, you can get copyright strikes for showing photos. Photos you don't own, don't have the rights to. It's not your photo. So yeah, you got to be super careful. I remember, Vinny says, remember Columbia House? I think I still owe them money, Vinny. Yeah, I used to be addicted to Columbia House. They used to get you with that 1 penny deal. I don't know if you remember that, guys. Columbia House, you can get like, I don't know, I think it was 10 or whatever it was, 15 CDs for a penny. And then all you have to do is you have to buy a certain amount after that. Remember that? Yeah, I got suckered in. It's funny though, eh? How things have changed. Streaming killed everything. Streaming killed the video stores. Streaming killed vinyl and CD. Streaming's killing radio. It's killing so much. I mean, even regular TV. Who watches regular TV anymore? Everything's streaming. It's just that times are changing, man. Who would have thought? Boomerang says, keep them, Tony. At least you don't need an account. I'm keeping them for, doomsday. Like if anybody drops the bomb and, we have to go off the grid, I still got my music. As long as I have a CD player that works, I'm good. John says, I put all my CDs back on the shelf after being packed in boxes for years. You never know when something just gets taken off streaming without warning. I went one further. I think at one point I ripped all my CDs so I can put them on a hard drive. Just make it more practical. A lot of time wasted doing that. So much time. Gene says, I almost choked on coffee when Tony said he still owed Columbia House. I'm not joking about that, Gene. I'm telling you, they're going to come after me. Hey, Paul says, Keith Moon has been dead for decades. I hung out with him for a couple of weeks. He fell in a swimming pool in the bag and drowned? In the bag? What do you mean by in the bag? I'm not sure. I know how he died. I don't know what I don't know about the bag, what we're talking about there. Shane says he hates everything being a subscription these days. Yeah, I know, man. What are you gonna do, man? What are you gonna do? Everything's built around that model now. Everybody's trying to grab a penny here, a dollar there. It's a shakedown. Yeah, man. Yeah, I know. It's always the drummers. The drummers go first, unfortunately. Speaking of that, have you guys seen the Spinal Tap, the new Spinal Tap movie preview trailer that's coming out? I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. Looks pretty cool, I gotta say. It's kind of like they're trying to respin their careers and they're trying to come back after so many years, but they're basically rock and roll dinosaurs and they don't know how to navigate the waters because things have changed so much. Things are streaming, like you said, and the whole industry has changed and they're trying to find their way. I think it's gonna be a fun movie to watch, man. I'm looking forward to that movie. I don't know if you guys watched the first one, but I would watch the first one and then immediately go watch the new one. Maybe I'll watch it with my kids because, they never saw it. They might not be able to relate because, it's kind of like not in their era, but I think it could still be fun. Shane says a Texas lady kept getting fired for 20 years. Turned out her roommate forgot to return a DVD in Oklahoma and Blockbuster got her charged for a felony. Yeah, Blockbuster. Remember those days? I remember Blockbuster. It was such a fun thing to do, to go into a video store. You had to watch a movie. It became kind of like an event, kind of like you're going out. I'm going out to get a movie. And you would go out to the local Blockbuster or other video store at the corner of your house and pick a movie. You would hope it would be in stock. Somebody didn't walk away with it. And, you'd smell the popcorn. Sometimes you would have popcorn going in there. You have movie posters you can buy and all kinds of new stuff. And you're like, what's new this week? That was fun. And you'd go home and you'd pop it in and just like watch undisturbed for that hour and a half. And then bring it back. That was cool. I like that. I think we should go back to stuff like that. Put in some effort. Video games, yeah, that too. The video games were always fun, and you had that special back room that you weren't supposed to go in. You know which one I'm talking about. Yeah, man, that was fun. Gene says, I'd go to see who comes out from behind the adult films curtain. Yeah, exactly. That was it. Who are the perverts, right? Oh, yeah. Good times, guys. Absolutely. Hey, any closing questions? Anything we want to talk about? I've been yapping for an hour and a half. I think we're going to have to wrap it up. I got some videos to make for you guys. I've been working on a video, which I'll probably post live on tomorrow, probably. So if you guys are interested in watching that, there's a couple of videos that I posted already last week, and there's a few new ones coming up, a couple of interesting devices and some cool things if you're building guitars. I got a couple of really cool items to make you see if you're playing guitar, and I put together a new pedal board with some cool pedals that I haven't demoed yet, so that's probably going to come as well. A lot of good stuff coming on the channel, and if you have any suggestions of what you'd like to see, let me know. I'm more than happy to, pivot and do something for you guys if you're interested in seeing something specific. I still promised you a shootout on the new Marshall back there, that guy. Maybe I'll do one against that guy against this guy. We'll compare the two, this guy and that guy. It's just a question of time, guys. Trying to get time to do all this stuff. Shane says, what's the best green? Olive, slime, seafoam, Sherwood, or Surf, depending on what you're talking about. What kind of guitar? Slime green is cool if you're going after the Steve Vai vibe. Seafoam green is cool for any type of vintage Strat. I love seafoam green. Those are the two greens I like. So if you're gonna get like a Charvel, you can go with the slime green. Seafoam, more classic. Surf green. There's not that much of a difference between the seafoam and the surf, in my opinion. Vox wants to know how my hand-wired amp is holding up. Yeah, it's doing good. Still working, man. Nothing's blown up. No smoke. No fireworks. Vox is referring to the hand-wired Princeton reverb that I built. Yeah, it's working good, man. I'm very happy with that amplifier. I'm glad I built it. Beautiful. Yeah, Shane, if you're talking about Fenders, I would go with the seafoam green. I think that's a nice one. Surf green, seafoam green, those two are nice, in my opinion. Gene says his Fender is British Racing Green. Seymour Duncan Pups. Shane's playing around with the mod shop. I see. You're gonna get enticed, Shane. Be careful. Careful with that. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to another Addicted to Gear show. Give me a thumbs up on the way out if you don't mind, if you haven't already done so. I appreciate that. Always looking forward to hearing your comments. If you missed the show, no worries. The rerun will be posted with all the comments and all the questions and all the chats. So you'll be able to see all of that if you missed out. And of course, please, if you want to be on the show, consider making that little video, and we'll be reviewing some of those as well. And hopefully we'll have a few winners to announce in the near future. That's it for now, guys. I'm going to get going. I'm going to be playing my guitars and making a few videos. Gotta get stuff done while the house is quiet. And looking forward to seeing you guys next Sunday. All right? Hang in there, boys. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Go play your guitars. See you soon, man.